Invictus Gamer versus Team Spirit. Game 2.
Thank you very much. Suns fan here with BSJ and Insania for game number 2. Spirit wins it in pretty convincing fashion. They are so fun to watch, I have to say. I've cast a lot of them since the Animajor, and they've kind of had their ups and downs, but they have grinded probably more than any other team, I feel like. They've been in like literally every tournament, and they are one game away from making it to the grand finals, gentlemen, or the lower bracket finals. Getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, I mean, there's just some magic in the air about this team. I think like at some point, I think we are all guilty of this, but you look at the player names, you recognize some more than the others, so you tend to like give them more respect or expect more from them. But I think when it reaches this deep into the tournament, you kind of forget, right? You're just watching the heroes and how they're moving and how they're playing, and they're playing extremely well. They are like definitely deserving of being here in the top 4, and they're proving it. I think this was one of the quickest games I've ever seen throughout this tournament.
Yeah, we're already seeing a collapse respect band, gentlemen. Mars.
Yeah, you can't give him that. I didn't think the Wind Ranger was going to apply enough pressure in the early game last game, but the Mars, like the rushed armlet with the IO, the tower pressure was immense. The rotations were so simple. He didn't even need a blink since most of the IG heroes were immobile in the Abaddon as well as the Tidehunter. And when I watched these two teams in the upper bracket, it really did seem like IG had their number. Team Spirit did eke out the first game with those crazy plays, but it's just a completely different atmosphere going into this one. You can feel Team Spirit's momentum carrying through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think in the series where they played in the upper bracket, Team Spirit were kind of allowing IG to set pace. IG was allowed to control the pace of the game, and they were the ones deciding what happens in the game. But I think the VP series really taught Spirit the importance of like, we need to be in control of what happens, because if we're not, we're going to get dominated for most of the game. So I think coming into the series, probably playing as VP and having that experience in the back of their minds, it helps them realize like, okay, this is how we need to approach IG, and this is what we need to do.
Could just be a confidence thing, right? Because it was 29-1 in series favor of VP versus Team Spirit, and maybe that series was just enough for them to just be confident to make the moves that they need to make that you're talking about.
So I think that's the brand standings, okay? But I think for these players individually, because at the end of the day, like if you're on a brand, I mean, Liquid is one of the highest win rates at TI, but I don't feel that, right? So I think the players had never beaten VP in a series ever, this roster. So yeah, definitely there's a lot of confidence included, involved in that too. And we have a shocking start to the draft, Kaka Lion. For the first time on a TI
Just as shocking as the game 1 Kaka Lion. And they followed up with the Lina this time. The Lion Tide's nice because you have team fight mixed in with the single target disable of the Lion. But this case, they're going all in for the burst damage. And against a hero like Doom, you definitely need that because you're only going to have a few seconds to dish it all out before one of your crucial targets gets doomed.
I think
Doom has felt like this hero that just, if you can get, I mean, obviously it's like a mini alchemist, right, where you just get this huge gold influx, but the Chinese teams seem to be the one that are favoring it more so, but we're seeing Team Spirit pick it up here kind of as it's almost like a semi-deny for the later stage of the draft.
I think the nice thing about Doom is it forces these teams that are playing 4+1s to kind of change up the way they play. However, it's not the kind of hero that I would have looked for here if I was Spirit. As I would have said, like, you want to keep playing with pace. You want to keep playing in a way which allows you to have control of the game, but they're kind of setting themselves up for a bit more like scaling situation, I feel like. And the Lina first phase, to me, it's a pretty worrying sign because I feel like this is IG basically saying we did not have a good hero for Emo. We're securing Emo early on, so we're going to pick him. Lina lanes well against everything, is always going to have its impact, and they want to make sure that Emo is like going to have the kind of game that they want him to.
Do they consider banning the Ember here? We saw it work really well against the Lina last series, and Toronto-Tokyo Ember right up his alley in terms of the immense amount of aggression.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I feel like they're kind of banning out the heroes that they feel like they're trying to set up Emo. It really feels like it for me. Like Mars is out, TA's out, Invoker's out. This is like just really, really focused on their star player. And that's usually what happens, right? In the pressure of these situations, I think as a drafter, you easily fall into this trap of like, who on my team is performing the best right now? Who can I like give this game to, and whose hands do I put it in? And while that is something that I think is quite common, I think sometimes it also hurts because you're then expecting more from a player that's already offering you so much, right?
They have a lot of experience against that kind of strategy. I mean, EG earlier in the year, that's literally all they did, right? They first two picked Abed's hero every single time, and we saw that kind of bite them in the ass against IG. in that grand finals that they ended up reverse sweeping.
Yep.
Now, is there, okay, it's kind of crazy. I know they're banning a lot of heroes here, but Lina has been played as support before. Not this tournament, though. The thing I love about Dota right now, and again, I'm not saying this is actually going to happen, but the fact that you can pick a mid hero early, they pick against it trying to counter you, and you just end up making it a support in some fashion.
Yeah, I think for some teams, like if it was VP doing this opener, I could see it happen. But just because it is Kaka and it is Lion, again, very shocking. But I really think he's gonna, I think he's gonna be playing it.
The thing about Lina compared to these other flex picks is she has game counters, but she doesn't really have lane counters. So she pretty much always gets off to a good start, and there's very little reason to rotate her out of the mid lane because of that. And they go for the Disruptor. It does counter Lina in a sense that she's similar to like the Bat Riders and Leshraks, where they walk around really fast. And Disruptor's really good against these heroes until they get the BKB, because she relies on her positioning when she's farming in order to be safe around the map, whether or not that's just hitting neutrals or pushing out lanes. And Disruptor's one of the few heroes that will have the reach around minute 10 and to catch you.
Have you guys seen this? I'm sure you have, but the shard from Disruptor on Doom specifically is really good.
I actually don't think I've seen it.
I cast a couple games. I mean, you just put it on him, it gives him the speed boost, attack boost, and all that good stuff, and he just runs in
Goes
like
with Scorched
crazy.
Earth really well,
yeah,
too.
it's really strong on Doom.
I mean, the nice thing for Team Spirit right now is they already have like 3 really strong teamfight heroes, and they have initiation, and they have like really good heroes as long as they're setting tempo and running at IG. So if I was drafting for IG, I'd be looking at some sort of way to set this game up where we can be running at them, where you don't have to like be at the mercy of Spirit setting pace control. So I think that's really what IG should be discussing right now. Like, what heroes here solve the issue that allow us to run at them rather than the other way around.
Earthshaker, third pick for IG, so likely to be the off lane here, or be the 4 as well, I guess.
I think this sets up really well for Team Spirit to pick like a Luna 4th. And I want IG to keep that in mind, because whenever you pick Earthshaker off lane, which it most likely is, you don't want to pick a melee carry into it if you don't have to. The Enchant Totem in lane's really powerful. It's almost impossible to trade through the Aftershock. So with this pick right here, I wanted to kind of deal with these range carries.
Weaver.
That should be a
core
carry
Weaver?
Weaver.
5 Weaver?
We've definitely seen both.
Interesting, actually. Now they have some flexibility in their draft. This could definitely be a 5 Weaver.
I mean, to be fair, the Weavers that we've seen at this tournament so far, the support variation has been more successful than the position 1,
That is true.
mainly because of the Ags.
Do you like the Weaver into Disruptor?
No, I don't. That's why I was wondering if it's a core Weaver. It's the same idea as Lina, right? Any hero that relies on running away and utilizing high move speed in order to be elusive, Disruptor tends to be very good against you. And you also can't like time lapse off of his ult. You want to be able to purge it somehow. Just feels very. You have to itemize the BKB super early, and then you have to pop it just when you get glimpsed. Weaver doesn't like to have to use that much defensive tools just for one spell, especially coming from a support.
I could see this being like IG thinking potentially that, you know what, we want pace control. And Weaver does fit that concept, right? It's a hero that can play fast. And if you're running at the Disruptor, it's much easier to like hide out the Static Storm and play around it. I like this DK pick a lot, actually. Now they have a very easy setup against the Weaver. You have the Dragon Knight stun into Static Storm on pretty much any hero. Same thing with the Snapfire follow-up. I think this was a really, really good pick for Spirit. It kind of solves what their draft was lacking in terms of like, they needed something that can initiate. And Dragon Knight does surprisingly well against Lina in the lane. It's one of the few heroes that can tank that harassment and kind of just sit through it and just farm and get his GPM going.
Very easy to execute draft from Team Spirit so far. I mean, I think pretty much everybody can just look at it and just envision what the plan is overall. But I think the downside is, well, depending on your perspective, there's not flexibility. You kind of know what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Whereas IG, we're still not sure the positions here necessarily between the Earthshaker and Weaver. Could be all over the place.
I mean, I would still expect IG to run the Earthshaker offlane with the Lion and most likely have Emo on the Lina. But then whether the Weaver is a 5 or a 1, I feel like still kind of remains to be seen. Has Yatoro, by the way, played the same hero twice yet? Do we know that?
No, he has not.
So PA was also a new hero, right?
Yeah, throughout the main event, yes.
So he can't play PA, he can't play Morph. I know he's played
all-hero
Chaos
challenge.
Knight.
Yeah, he's running out of
Yeah.
hero pool because he can't do all the heroes he's
Has he
picked so
played
far.
Sven?
Not sure.
Yeah, it might be a Sven.
Faceless Void comes to mind here.
Yep.
against the Weaver with the Disruptor Snapfire. You have like pretty good frontliners. Saw something similar, I believe, out of VG yesterday, like a similar looking draft.
Yeah, and so the idea with the Void against Weaver is that you have both time dilation to make sure he can't Sukuchi around and the Chronosphere to just fully lock him down. So even without the Chrono, you still have a really, really nice spell against the Weaver.
But if it's a support Weaver, then it could be the other way around with
Exactly.
whoever he Chronos. But we have seen, who was that? I think it was LGD playing against that, and Chronosphere just really well placed where the range from the time lapse wasn't nearly there. He needs like Aetherlens on top of Ags, which is hard to come by on a support Weaver.
You also know by that point, because they do have 10th pick overall in Team Spirit, that's the one comfort you have when you see these type of flex heroes. By then you should almost always know what role he will be going to. Because they don't have overall last pick, I'm not surprised if this Weaver's a 1. I'm just mostly surprised they picked it into Disruptor. The Ags is better.
They banned PA. Would you guys actually expect another PA without an IO?
It's a nice hero against Weaver as well.
Yeah. So you have the evasion, right? So you don't really take the Gemini damage the same way a lot of other heroes do. And because you have the chance of just one-shotting Weaver in a crit, as soon as you blink on him, he has to run away. He can never stand his ground against you.
Team Spirit are the ones to get rid of Luna, so IG.
They go for the Void.
Okay.
All right.
So
Another
support
hero
Weaver.
that's not so great against Disruptor Doom. But maybe with the support Weaver behind, it's a bit better. But
Very interesting. I don't really see like IG's identity in this draft.
I don't
And I think
either.
that's something that, for me, is a bit surprising. It feels like they're trying to play some like late game draft, but ultimately, I feel like when they've looked at their best, is like Kaka gets a Blink Dagger, and then you have the heroes to follow up and chase and like put the pressure on, while Fly really like farms up and then comes in and closes out the game for you.
Usually when I see a Faceless Void, I think Wraith King, but Team Spirit are the ones that banned that earlier
Yeah.
for their position 1 here.
There's a lot of carries that are taken out of the pool. I was thinking Bloodseeker before I saw the Void, but
Drow Ranger,
Oh.
okay.
I like that pick a lot.
They
I've
have a
seen
lot
Drow
of
DK.
sounds.
It didn't work out. It was against Medusa early on in the tournament, but Faceless Void specifically hates dealing with Drow. She represents low cooldown push potential in tandem with the DK. Faceless Void with Chronosphere long cooldowns. I think it should lane really well against the Earthshaker. I agree with you, Insania. I didn't feel where they're going with this on IG's draft. The Weaver Void has weird synergy. The bugs die immediately in the Chrono. First time we're not seeing Kaka on Lion.
yeah, I was just gonna say, for me, that's the most shocking thing, right? I feel like that's been his hero for this entire tournament. So I'm not sure. I don't think their draft is bad per se, but it doesn't really scream IG at me. So I feel like it feels like Spirit's playing comfort, and IG's kind of been thrown off their game. So I would say Spirit has the edge going into this one.
They have a ton of stuns, though, on IG. So it really is going to come down to whether or not Doom starts the fights. Because Drow, if he's allowed to be in the back pelting people, they should have no problem having the damage output. But without the Drow hitting continuously, I don't think they have very good sustained damage on Team Spirit.
Wonder if this is Yataro's first time playing Drow at this event, because do you think there's any way that they're going off of the all-hero challenge for him? There's no way with the stakes this high, but my goodness, that's really impressive that he's able to find so many different heroes to play.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason that Collapse can shine the way he can is because Yatoro can play so many heroes. He's able to shift into that like 3 position if he has to. He can play more of a 1. He seems to have mastered both playing fast and slow from the 1 position, which is a very, very rare thing to have in a carry. And I think it's enabling Collapse to look as good as he does throughout
All right,
this
so
tournament.
that is the end of the draft, ladies and gentlemen. Frankie is standing by with Super of IG. Let's see what he has to say.
Thank you very much. Super, I'd love to know, did you have to revisit the game plan after that disappointment in game 1?
第一把之后，第二把有没有需要做出哪些战术上的调整？
我觉得就是第一盘发育到后期我们是比较弱的，所以这一盘我们在阵容硬度上做了调整。
I realized that in game 1 our late game was a little weak, so in game 2 we made those adjustments. 谢谢。
Thank you so much, Super. Good luck with this match. Let's head over to Aoi and OD Pixel to get game number 2 underway.
Thank you very much, Frankie. Yes, game 2, ladies and gentlemen, between Team Spirit and IG. AUI, what are you looking forward to seeing this game? Because we're seeing some fun drafts, I feel.
No, I feel like this is a draft type that we actually haven't seen at this TI. I mean, we saw Drow DK before, but Drow primarily this tournament has been pretty sparingly picked. I feel like his silence is actually the real game breaker in this game. I think it's good versus all 5 heroes. And we say, ooh, they saw each other ward here. Might be a double D ward coming out from both teams on the mid lane.
I'll see if they leave it up or if they take it back down themselves.
Yeah, it's a funny thing here because you don't know whether you want to deny your ward.
Yeah.
You don't know whether, like, after you kill your opponent's ward here, you sort of want to deny your own ward, but it's so far in. I think a lot of this game will come down to how Yatoro, Fly, is able to come into mid with his Chronosphere. One of the strengths of Faithless Void is that he, as level 6, his TP jump into Chronosphere can lead to a kill on almost any core. DK is tanky, but Lina deals a lot of damage. Or you can even go to the Drow's lane. A lot of this game will come down to these carry rotations. It's like not your stereotypical carry game, I feel like. Even Drow, she can move to Void's lane and kill him. You know, sync up with that Doom. They have a lot of play options this game.
Absolutely. I don't think it's going to be easy for Fly at all. Lots of threats that are going to trip up the Faceless Void if he's not too cautious. But if IG do land those big ults, they've certainly got quite the team fight around them. And of course, an incredible amount of burst with the Laguna and the Finger. The pickoffs are certainly going to be capable from IG's heroes.
What's happening with the supports here? So Lion is actually hiding in bottom. They're trying to sort of sneak in a kill onto the Drow. This is actually a really good plan whenever you have Earthshaker. Because you're able to fissure block your lane so far back, the lane equilibrium is messed up, and Drow has to come up much further. You see Yatoro, he started blocking early, but the lane is still going to start in a pretty good position for IG here.
Sure. But with it, do you think if you're Spirit now, are you aware that Ollie's missing? You're like, this Lion is probably down here.
I think they are because they got the better block. You can see Yatoro, he's staying back.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Yatoro's play this tournament has just been so amazing. He's a top-ranked carry right now, I believe, but they still got him.
And they have trapped him in with a fishy. Yatoro, he's trying to run, but they have found him. No escape.
I really like this coming out from IG. I feel like in game 1, they sort of lacked this creativity to go for kills. I mean, that game, they had the Diffusal Blade, they had the Aegis, but they didn't find a way to push the tempo. This game, I think they want to set a faster pace. They want to scale into late game with this Lina, with this Faceless Void. But I want to see them do it right, you know, set up these kills and play the IG Dota that we saw them dominate the group stage with.
Absolutely. We know that they have so much more in them than they showed in the first game of the series.
Mira with 3 creep denies in the top lane, 2 of them on range creeps. He's just, I mean, these CS matter. When you have these supports at this level, how they CS is actually really important.
Sort of overall, now that Ollie has returned to the top, I mean, how is this sort of laning stage for the Drow? Now it's just 2 heroes you're dealing with, the Weaver and the Shaker. How much can they mess with your farm here? Who has the easier time?
Well, they're going on to the Disruptor here, and I think this is kill onto the Volshka.
I think it certainly is with the bugs on him. I mean, well, there we have it, showing us that kills are rather easy for these two to achieve, especially on Miposhka if he's a little out of position and a good fisher finds him.
Yeah, and Kaka, he's already dropped the sentry in lane. He has another sentry in his inventory. He really wants to fight for his vision control. This lane, a lot of it comes down to the lane equilibrium. IG, the reason why Kaka bought so many sentries, not only for the Sakuchi, but he secured this hard camp. Whenever you pull this hard camp, it doesn't matter if they pull back, you will normally get the lane equilibrium. And we can see, as soon as you have that equilibrium, Drow, she's sort of like a pathetic carry hero, you know? Like, she's very weak in the early stages. Yeah. You can go on her, and with a Fission and Bugs, she's a pretty easy kill.
We're certainly seeing the slow start. Just 4 CS right now in Yatoro in the safe lane. It's not having an easy time.
Honestly, both cores at bottom lane, like Earthshaker only has 6 CS as well. He does have that kill though, so that's making up for that.
Meanwhile, on the other half of the map, both cores farming just fine. Fly is doing absolutely okay in the CS, and Collapse also.
Yeah, I think both cores on the top lane will pretty much just farm. There's not that much kill threat here, which I think generally Doom is pretty happy with.
See bottom lane. Miposhka is able to just get the bug off him in time, so Kaka won't be able to go any further onto him. He's trying to do his best here. Miposhka to draw attention away from the Drought. Give Yatoro space to hit the creeps, but it's still proving to be very difficult in that bottom lane to secure a safe space for this Drow in the laning stage.
And this is all because of that level 1 play from Lion, I feel. It's always interesting in Dota, like just these one small adjustments you can make from the draft. I think if they just lane head-to-head, Drow, Disruptor, they're going to hit the Earthshaker a lot. He's not going to have that good a lane. One gank, and all of a sudden, he's having a really good lane, and Yatoro's being pressured.
Money to burn.
Kaka still doing his best to trade with Miposhka. See how the region's going between these two. We've got Mango and a Salve on Kaka still to play with. Still 3 Mangoes on Miposhka, so Miposhka very much ready to keep the spam going. Is close to level 3 as well, and then the trading will be a little more effective for the disruptor in the lane.
I do like what Emo is doing here. He actually snuck the enemy's Bantrin and then brought an early ward to place into the enemy's triangle. He understands that because of how bottom lane is going, Drow is most likely going to have to retreat to his triangle. This ward gives him a gank option on him later.
Even CS mid. It's been a close one. Of course, we'll see if there's going to be opportunity to push in onto that tier 1 mid once the dragon forms up.
Another
Bottom lane.
block.
That's a very nice block here, Toro. He's trying to get away from the turn, but they're in with the enchant tournament. He's back underneath the tower. He'll turn, but he will not survive here. Kaka and JT getting away with it again. Maposhka trying to find one of the two of them. In fact, JT, he's actually going to step back in range of the Thunderstrike. So JT does go down. I mean, Maposhka, can he get Kaka as well? He can't. Kaka, salve the ready, into the trees. He'll live. There's something to be found there for Spirit, but of course, still, the struggle is real for Yatoro.
Yeah, good trade out from Maposhka there at the end, but I mean, Yatoro, he has 12 CS right now. That's the same as Earthshaker's denies. Whenever this situation happens in Dota, I think it's important in your communication that you basically tell your team, like, I'm having a bad game, I need some time to catch up, and we're actually going to have to see, like, Collapse on the Doom and Toronto Tokyo and the DK join up in order to make some sort of space. You do have that DK form on mid and a wagon, so I'd like to see Team Spirit try to do something with this timing, at least maybe force some pressure away from Yatoro so he has a little bit of space in the game.
Yeah, we're getting some early poke damage here from Toronto Tokyo. Dragon form is hit. Getting this lane shoved right in. Emo pretty low on the regen, just one tango to bite through. A few seconds and the rune will be up. He's going to hope for it down bottom, and he's not going to get lucky. DD rune at the top. Toronto Tokyo is going to be able to get that for himself.
Radiant structures are fortified.
This pressure will continue mid. Top lane Fly. A little bit low. Still the farm very solid for him. He's having a fine time top. Mid lane, they've got the setup with the stun. Light strike to follow, into the Hex. Have they got enough right click to take him down? They do, only just, but they're able to do it.
And Mirror, his spells were on cooldown. He had previously used them on the kill attempt on Fly, so he TP's in mid, but he's not able to save his Dragon Knight, and just a completely different IG than we saw in Game 1. I think, honestly, they were upset that they were a bit passive in the early game, and they're really showing the team they are now.
Top lane Fly nearly getting taken out there by Collapse with that Alpha Wolf crit. He's got to be careful there, that's a hard-hitting Doom.
Well, I like this from Emo. He's rotating to bottom. One of the principles of Dota is that your team, you can give to your core heroes, but after you've given to them, they have to give back. And he's recognized that. He's rotating to his bottom lane. His boots still come on the courier, and they're going to collapse on Yatoro. He's having a bad game already.
He is. This is a tough start for Yatoro, and he's about to feel even further pain here. The fish is out. Blocking Yatoro from a safe route back towards his tower. He's going to try and go for the TPO. Anything to stop it. There is a great usage of the Gust to stop any further stuns coming into play. Maposhka will, of course, fall, but IG, they'll get the time to push on to this tier 1 tower. They don't get Yatoro, though. Still, it's painful moments where Yatoro is out of the lane and struggling to find the time and opportunity to hit the creeps. Top lane. Fly and Ollie. Going for Collapse. They'll need a bash or two, and they're not going to get it. Collapse able to walk out to safety.
And Team Spirit, they're striking it back in middle lane. This is a Dragon Knight versus Lina matchup, so as soon as he gets to 6, if Lina leads for second, he does take that tower. I just want to comment again though, that sequence of events from IG was so nice because first they ganked mid with the line, they killed the Dragon Knight in Dragon form, they know he doesn't have it so he can't push the tower once again, then they rotate to bottom, they kick out the enemy carrion. Yatoro survives, but he had to walk back to the neutral case because he had to TP to base. He's got like 2 CS since then, and his game, it's like he needs some space. Something needs to happen where they can find a way to draw all the IG heroes away from him. I think it's going to come soon though. Collapse, he's getting close to level 6 with some big ultimates in the top lane.
He's going to drop the Doom down. And I mean, he's getting this kill for sure. There is no question about it. Fly just not respecting the fact that the 6 was ready to roll there from Collapse.
That was good from Collapse though, honestly. Because he hid in the fog while the last creep was dying, so that Fly, he had no idea that Doom was about to hit level 6 there. Just a heads up play from Collapse. I mean, again, like, he's been performing so well this tournament, and the thing I appreciate about it, it's like, he's just so patient, so intelligent about how he makes these plays and how he connects his spells.
Right, just were not ready at all. But see, Fly return to this lane. He himself, of course, also having his 6, has the Chronosphere. Question is if they do have the damage. He's going to jump forward for Mira. Put Cookie down to the low ground. And look to chase him down though with the bugs upon him. Mira will certainly get taken out here by the 3 of them. So a kill to be found as IG push back, get Spirit back out of the top lane.
TP in mid here. They're looking to go for Emo.
Discussed. Into the Dragon Tail stun. Is there any backup for Emo? There is not, of course, with the tower already gone. There's no route of access to get in to help him out. The Spirit, they'll get the kill. Top lane, Finger onto Collapse. They pop the 2 ults, Chrono and a Finger, does the job. Collapse is killed off.
And Yatoro, this guy's a genius. He's actually straight up a genius. He's by far the lowest farmed core on the map. But he understands that his way back in this game, actually, it's way better than having his teammates make space for himself. He's going to make it himself. He TPs in mid, and he ganks the enemy mid level, what is it, level 9 Lina with a level 5 Drow Ranger. All of a sudden, like, I mean, he's not really back in this game.
No.
But he's given something to his allies to work with, you know, a little bit of space. Now they can make a move and be stronger. It's such a good presence of mind. I mean, he's such a young player, but he's making all the right moves this game.
Absolutely.
I mean, this game, he's having a rough one, but he's coming back.
It's not going to be easy, but he's certainly shown his capabilities here. Top lane, whoop, Cookie. A little bit off the side there. Won't be able to line up the initiation. But he's just making things done, and all importance of having that early point of the gust saved his life down bottom. And that little bit of disable with the push back onto Lina, allowing Toronto Tokyo to get him with that Dragon Tail stun. So,
and here's sort of the space move that I was talking about earlier. They have their Dragonite and the Doom connect onto top tower. This allows Zhao to sort of farm mid. It's the area on the map that's actually closest to the creep camps. You can often find carries that are having bad games go and farm around mid lane, and that's what he's doing now. JT actually almost has his Blink Dagger. I'd like to see them connect with the Lion with a Smoke, who already has an inventory. He's also quite close to a Blink on Oli. I mean, this man's a 5 Lion, and he's more farmed than Kako was last game.
Oh my, yeah, I mean, he has been the one to pick up, 3 of the kills, 3-0-1. Yeah, that gold certainly rolling in for Oli. So that double jump, it's going to be pretty terrifying because they've got rather beefy heroes on 2 of their cores, Toronto Tokyo and Collapse. A little more difficult to burst, but there is a lot of burst from
JT,
IG.
he gets his Blink Dagger on Courier, he instantly TPs mid so it's closer, and they instantly smoke up here. They want to get a high value core here.
Yeah. They're going to start charging straight towards Toronto Tokyo, but already out of the lane and not pushing any further. IG, they're not going to catch anybody up here.
Honestly, I don't even know if they had damage for him with the Finger on cooldown, but I think the mentality that IG is approaching this game with is much better. Like, you get the timings, you go smoke and try to use it right away. Last game, you know, they waited a bit with that Aegis Diffusal Blade. This game, they want to take these power spikes and use them well.
A few seconds, and Chrono will also be ready to throw into the mix. Arcane Rune on Emo's Lina as well. And they get a good setup. They'll certainly have a few rounds of spells to take down the targets without too many difficulties. So a lot of it does rely on that AoE lockdown, and they've got it. A huge amount of the floor of the team fight will be covered by both JT and Flyfly. Smoke up now for the Spirit. They can look to try and start things off themselves with their own Blink Dagger. Ready to go here on Toronto Tokyo.
And IG, they have now shown the Blink Dagger on Earthshaker. I think they're going to go for another one here. Only just deliver another smoke and switch in, so we're going to smoke on smoke action here.
See who gets the jump. Last game, we did see Spirit most of the time getting the favorable lead in. Get the ward drop down. They'll see Oli, they're going to jump straight away for the line. Toronto Tokyo just committing for the Lion. Laguna comes out as well at the start. Hunter Toronto Tokyo is going to lose his life for him. Firefly jumps across. He'll pop the Chrono. Only going to catch the Disruptor. And they have lost 2 themselves. Cookie up to the side to get Maposhka out of there. JT trying to chase, but Maposhka and Mira there away. They make it out. Ends up being a 2-for-1 trade hit.
That collapse on the bot lane, he made a really cool play. He sort of just hid in the trees with his Coiling Blade and got a free Doom off onto the Weaver. Just, you know, solo pick off. Another, like, collapse special in this game.
I'll take that.
Now, both teams going through a few of the ults there. Collapse. He's got eyes on JT. Does also have the backup on Maposhka, and Static Storm is up. If they can get the setup, they may have the damage between the 2 of them, but JT's playing it safe. Into the trees and out he goes. Straight back over towards the mid to join the rest of his team.
And another smoke coming out.
I don't know, there's no Doom. No Kisses, no Dragon Form. Got their eyes on Toronto Tokyo. See if they can burst him. They're in with the urn, and with Emo at the side, they'll have enough damage. Quick move from IG. And sort of at a pace where I don't think Spirit or Toronto Tokyo was quite ready for them to come charging at him from that mid area of the map after that move was made bottom.
Quite a clever smoke coming out there from IG. That was just, people think of smokes, they're going to objectives, they're going to the triangle, but IG are actually just going to the rune there. And Toronto Tokyo, a little bit maybe on a lapse of concentration from Team Spirit, but he goes to the rune alone and they just get a free pick off. They do expend the Echo Slam and they have used Chronosphere last fight, so I'm looking around to see what Spirit's next timing is. They had the blink on DK, but IG, you know, the last time they smoked, they're already ready for Team Spirit.
See if they can find Collapse. They cannot. It's quick TP. No further gap closing, and whilst this chaos has been going on, Yatoro's certainly getting himself back in shape this game. Still about 1k gold between him and the Void, but he really is closing that gap between him and Fly. Another Blink Dagger thrown into the mix. Ollie also ready for the initiations.
And that's a 5 Lion. A 15-minute dagger is very early. The thing about when you get dagger on 5 Lion is you're getting a dagger on a hero that doesn't normally have this responsibility. So it affects your draft and it makes it stronger than it should be. It also means that since you were not intended to be the normal initiator, you can be really patient in your when you like counter initiate and when you go in. I think this game, like, they can start with stuff like the Earthshaker going in or the Lion going in, and then they have follow-up with the Chronosphere, or maybe even he doesn't have to go in right away. They just have all the options for how they want to teamfight on IG right now.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I mean, in this game, how sort of accessible does the Roche look for both teams? I mean,
I think they both have to win a fight in order to get the Roshan.
Yeah.
And they are really fighting over this control middle. Team Spirit, they go for another smoke. They do have this blink on DK, but honestly, it's not easy to get the right engage for either team right now because you're just jostling for position. Both teams, they don't really have any deep wards that give an obvious smoke target, and they're being very careful around mid lane. You know, a little bit of those TI games where both teams are huddling around the mid lane a bit.
A golden thread.
Yeah, full smoke coming to an end. Team Spirit, no action to be found.
I think Team Spirit, they don't mind taking a fight where they can get the right initiation, but they do actually really want to wait for the BKBs to come out. It is a little bit far on both Doom. I mean, Doom actually has this in 400. It's a little bit far on DK, but as soon as they have that, then they'll be able to go and provide vision so that their triple backline will be able to deal a lot of damage.
Smoke time from IG. Up to the triangle, they head. Yatoro, he's cleaning up quite a nice stack here. Can they catch him out in time? Ollie, he's looking for him. He's been able to catch him with a Hex, the Fisher. They blow up the Drow, take away some of her creeps as well. Now with the Drow kill alone, pinks are being made onto the Roshan. Now going is the bit, can Spirit do anything about this 4v5, or do they have to let it go?
And they really want their BKBs right now, but I'm a bit concerned if they let this Aegis go.
Yeah.
So they're smoke up. They understand that even though we don't have this BKB, we have to stop them from taking this Roshan.
Let's see, they're going to go for the jump. Toronto Tokyo is in, straight away the static shot's laid down. He's committing, looking to kill Fly, perform in silence. The Void will fall. Fly to die to Roche. Fisher over to Collapse trying to run over the high ground, and JT expends the Echo Slam, destroying it. The kisses come out to Ollie. Toronto Tokyo back in with the Dragon Tail stun. Yatoro's got the damage from the high ground. Mirror somehow still alive here. Kaka got the time lapse, but he's back into the trap of the Koshka, into the kinetic field. 4 dead on IG. As JT, can he do anything about this? He has got the blink. Can he go for some sort of steal? The Spirit, they're finishing off the Roche. Looks like JT's, is he going to be able to try? No. Already blinked out, Spirit. They get in, Roshan is theirs, Aegis on Yatoro.
And all of a sudden, Yatoro's net worth is ahead of Fly's. You know, IG, they're so confident at Roshan, they made a little bit of a mistake there. They had no one scouting for the smoke at all. Just a brilliant blink in from Toronto Tokyo. I mean, he doesn't have BKB. He has nothing protected. He just goes in here. And then there's a beautiful fall off from the shot route. Like, that's purely based on trusting your teammates on Dragon Knight, knowing that they'll follow up. You have the Mortimer's Kisses, the Disruptor ulti, and they managed to take this fight. I'm actually amazed at their execution in that fight because, I mean, you're just down to Drow Ranger, you don't have your BKBs, it doesn't matter to Team Spirit.
No, I mean, just a huge part of it. Getting that control, silence onto Fly. The Void had no impact at all in that fight. And of course, no money either for a buyback. There's some other sort of scenarios you may have seen. You know, if he had the money, he probably would have got straight back in Fly because he did have the chrono. But only having that one life, one chance, and nothing that he could do against Miposhka's setup. Quick glimpse into the gust here. They've got to catch up top. JT will jump in with the counterplay. Chant Totem slaps out Miposhka. Kaka with the time lapse.
And Emo, he traveled behind him, but instant stun for the DK.
I mean, yeah, Toronto Tokyo just opens up straight away with the Dragon Tail. Emo has the Laguna, they burst through the Drow, the one Shitoro. He needs backup. Kisses up in 10 seconds from Mirror. It's not going to be soon enough to do anything to keep them off the Drow. As soon as they get that Aegis for themselves, they lose it pretty abruptly after Spirit.
And IG, they're striking back, you know, a little bit of an overextension from Team Spirit. And IG, they're ready to punish. They bring all their heroes except for the Faceless Void, and they just overpower them. I mean, this Aegis doesn't matter if you're completely outnumbered when you come back alive. It had no impact there. I think for Team Spirit, they're like trying to figure out a way, because that Aegis was supposed to be a farming Aegis, you know? You're just supposed to get your DK to that BKB. Doom already has his. Maybe get your Toro to that item, which allows him to just sit in the back lines and blink away at the enemy heroes. But IG, they recognized that, and they were just faster on the play.
Regeneration.
And they still have Chronosphere, actually, so it's not like they don't have aggressive options
absolutely.
On IG, and they're even going for a smoke right away here.
Yeah. Everything online for IG. All else good to go. See who gets caught out here at the front of it. Team Spirit, they've got to play careful. They're going to know that for sure IG's trying to make this sort of play with all their cooldowns done for.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I think right now, both teams are in a little bit of a lull. We're both waiting for some really crucial BKBs. DK has this flying out, so I think Team Spirit will use this to go. But IG, they would really prefer to get this BKB up on Faceless Void. That's fine. I mean, he just died to a Static Storm in a DK form, so... Yep. But they're smoking back into their own jungle here.
Kaka. Sentry down. It's out of the range here. Oh, they will still be able to get the glimpse. Yep, it reaches. Able to bring him back. They get Kaka.
He's still smoked up on Collapse, but Fly wisely doesn't go for the extra wave mid.
Yeah. He's going to know. With that kill, Spirit would have been very quick to try and turn it into something extra. Very close game this time round. 22 minutes in. 9:13, less than 1K. IG just already looking so much better than they did in game one. This time, many more ways that they can play this out against Spirit. This is what you expect to see from the squad, and this is what we are seeing here. A very even standoff between the two.
And JT, he's actually finished off his own BKB, so they're going for the triple golden strat. I think a lot of the time when you're having this downtime in Dota, what the teams are doing is they're trying to figure out what their conditions to win the fight are. I think a lot of it for IG is actually just making sure that their Lina can hit during the fights. Faceless Void, he is one of those hard carries, but his damage actually doesn't ramp up until he has a lot of items. I think a lot of it will come down to Team Spirit trying to find this Lina and blowing her up with the Doom, maybe some DK stun, and then the counter initiation with the Chronosphere and trying to find Team Spirit's Drow Ranger.
Absolutely. If Fly and JT can control the fight, Emo is he's gonna hurt. A lot of frontline control from IG.
Oh, and I did notice this, but JT actually managed to pick up that Faye grenade, which is amazing on Earthshaker. You just toss on someone. Right now it's dealing, what is that, like 800 extra damage? Just off one neutral item.
Radiant structures are fortified. Radiant's bottom tower.
IG showing the faces bottom. Same to be said for Spirit, just going for the tier 2 trades here. Mirroring the map. So a fair bit of time until we will have a potential Roche, of course. So teams staying away from one another.
And sort of a cool build coming out from Fly here. He's only went for the 1 in Chronosphere because the Nixels basically, they don't make you that much stronger. And he's gone for a lot of points into the stats, skipping the level 10 talent and not finishing level up time dilation. This build, it just lets you be more tanky and farm just a little bit faster because he understands that their time is as soon as he gets his BKB, as soon as he's ready to fight and is coming on the courier. I think we're going to see a big fight ramping up here.
Yeah, DD on your Toro. Spirit would love to fight right now. But that BKB pickup, as you say, for Fly could be game-changing. If he can get that chrono off, something that he's suffered with a few times. Miposhka has had his number. Now, not a lot that's going to be able to stop this man. The Doom and the Dragon Tail are the 2 lead-ins he has to be concerned about the most.
And smoke up here from IG, but there is a mid tower still there, so they can't wrap around it. They're trying to wait for a Team Spirit here to sort of push out this wave and then burst him as soon as they can.
Nemo will show. At least reveal the angle. They want to finish this tower. Don't get it. Team Spirit holding back. See IG, both cores needing that Lincoln Sphere against the Doom this game. They both get it. It's going to be hard to sort of coordinate actually getting one of them locked down from the Doom. Definitely going to take a lot of extra resources and calls here from Spirit to deal with.
It just seems like it's a little hard for both teams to find each other and engage in this game. There's a lot of counter initiation. As soon as someone shows on either side, there's a lot of instant stuns and burst. Yatoro has managed to pick up a Silver Edge. He's sort of made a recovery in this game, but I'm not too sure. IG's team fight right now, it looks scary, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to that initiation. Whoever gets a vision is going to win the next fight.
I mean, Spirit, they're pretty deep here on IG's half of the map. Without Yatoro, of course. Yatoro farming his own Ancients. So if a fight does kick off, they will be fighting with a number advantage. Much easier for Emo to join the action mid, being that around the tier 2 tower. And of course, have Kaka halfway on the money towards the Aghanims. So we'll have that solid bailout and that potential to maybe keep those cores alive, even if they do get jumped.
Regeneration.
I think right now IG, they're just going to clear their jungle because they have buybacks onto both of their supports. So they understand that if a fight comes out, they have that tier 2 mid to TP back to. And Team Spirit, they understand that as well. As soon as IG sort of lead in there with the Weaver, they understand that they have to get out. I'm trying to click around, see what the next timing is. What are these teams waiting for to take this engagement? I think a lot of it is that they want to save all their buybacks and resources for this next Roshan fight. Anytime you have heroes like Doom and Faceless Void in the game, this Aegis becomes exponentially, I don't know, it becomes more effective and more valuable.
No, it really does. And you just don't want to approach a fight, blow your big ultimates, and then have the enemy team buybacks at the ready. They're ready to go, Roshan's up, and suddenly your team fight, it's on cooldown. So being very careful around these minutes leading up to the next Rosh.
To be honest, I feel like the team should be prioritizing the side lanes a little bit more during these stalemates. I think they need more information. He wants to go.
He's going to try and start things. He's in with the BKB onto Oli. He'll be dead for sure. Just a quick pick here from Toronto Tokyo.
He was just solo there, literally 1v5.
I mean, but here comes the rest of his team now. Collapse jumps in with a assault, but JT comes in with a counterplay. The Echo Slam, they look the block. The do they have? Collapse will fall. BKB from Emo. He's holding on for Poshka. Laguna into the jump forward from Fly. They bring the Disruptor down. I mean,
they did get that first pick off, but Ollie, he just buys back, and unfortunately, when Collapse jumped in, he did not BKB, so they're able to get the quick Echo Slam out from JT, and now they're getting back to them.
And now, whoo! Oh dear! Oh dear!
Unfortunate. You know what happens.
It does! Okay, you don't need to tell me, I play a lot of Void, it happens a lot. But that's gonna hurt. That's really gonna hurt.
I do like what Team Spirit did there, though. Even though they lost the last fight, they sort of rotated back around to their ward. He doesn't have buyback anymore. He tried to deward that ward since he got jumped on it last time, and they're just ready to strike. And you know, unfortunate Chronosphere coming out from Fly, but honestly also just great positioning from Team Spirit. They understood that all of the BKBs on the 2 cores of IG were popped, so they could still fight.
I mean, and now Roshan's back up. And Spirit, I mean, they know there's no threat of a Void, there's no threat of a Chrono, 90 seconds. Spirit, they're going to be able to take this, and you see from IG's move as well, they're just well away from this. They know that with the way things went down beforehand, they can't do anything about this. This is going to be a 3-1 for Spirit, this Roche.
And again, this game, this Aegis.
Ooh, and the catch there as well. Collapse, getting that vision from Imposko to get a beautiful glimpse on Kaka. Things starting to really roll into place here for Spirit as IG. They can't afford another mess up like that.
What's all?
And Imposko is just having such a good showing this series, just this tournament in general. I feel like the Eastern European region has been playing Disruptor for like 7 years now, and they've always been the best with this hero. They just always find the aggressive pickoffs. And the Aegis, we mentioned it was super important in this game. Now in the hands of Yotaro, he's completely caught up. Top net worth on his team now, higher than the enemy Faceless Void by quite a good margin. Even with that start laning phase, Yotaro figures out to find a way.
Climbing back in, I mean, yeah, it really is. What a recovery. Second highest in the net worth now, Yotaro. Level 19, hitting on the tier 2s. IG back in action, of course, still. Okay, 10 seconds until the Chrono. We'll see if they try and make a proactive move into the Drow's Aegis. I mean, do they, if you're IG, is there that pressure, or can you afford to sit back and wait out this Aegis rather than take the risk?
I think whenever the enemy has the Aegis, it's an evaluation of how strong you are, and whether you need to take the fight with buybacks or on your side under your vision, or, I mean, sometimes you can still run at them. I mean, we saw that in last game when IG picked up that Aegis, like Team Spirit were not afraid because they had their BKBs just run their triangle and fight them. I think this game, it's a little bit harder just because of the nature of how their spells work. You have a lot of big ultimates like Chronosphere and Echo Slam. If you use down the Aegis, you're potentially giving up the fight. I think they're pretty content farming, but I don't think Team Spirit will let that happen. It's really good to use the first couple of minutes of Aegis to establish map control, equal a little bit of gold advantage, but at some point I think they should start trying to force IG back to base. Maybe start poking that tier 3 top, finish off this tier 2 mid, and just get them back onto their own side of the map.
Dire's middle tower
Spirit.
has fallen.
3 minutes on the Aegis. Let's see how much they can push out of IG here. IG, they've got the combo ready, but for now, they're split up back on the map. They get that bottom wave pushed right out. Now they return, and Spirit, they'll respect that, even with the Aegis. They hold back. Still some easy objectives for Spirit to potentially take. Tier 1 and Tier 2 still up on the bottom lane.
And I really liked what Team Spirit did there. They showed 3 heroes mid, sort of feinted they're going for a push, but they're actually setting up at bottom. I mean, IG read the play, so there was no pickoff, but it's actually very hard to see that Doom and Mira were already setting up on the bottom lane.
See no evil.
Dire's middle tower.
IG, they have managed to get themselves out of the base and sort of behind Team Spirit. So they want to try and jump from the side. Still going to be ever so difficult with the way that Spirit's positioned behind Yotaro.
Now Shiva's finished on Doom, so when he jumps in, he's just going to have full vision of the enemy team.
I mean, they're just approaching this siege so carefully, Spirit, leaving no opening for IG to really have a hit at them. They're going to try and come out now, IG, with a smoke. All ultimates at the ready. Emo looking for the cinnamon posture, but a quick force out inside. He's fine. Emo plus the BKB, turns towards Yotaro. Yotaro trying to run with the BKB, but the damage is done by Emo. Yotaro goes down. Troller Tokyo able to jump over to the back lines. Commits with the BKB onto Ollie. Emo back over towards the side. They'll break away. IG, they lose Ollie's life, but they are able to remove that Aegis from Yotaro.
And Toronto Tokyo, just really good identification of the win condition in team fight. He's just jumping in a bit far away from his Jaws so they don't get Chrono together and making a little bit of space. He's always targeting down Ollie's line.
Yeah.
And they did manage to get the Aegis on the IG there, but I think Team Spirit has a good concept of how they want these fights to go. Just make a lot of space with DK, try to let the jaw hit, and wait for the lead into Doom.
They managed to get the Static Storm grab in. JD pops the Echo Slam onto Toronto Tokyo. JT going for the TP out, but Emo can't escape. Spirit pushing their luck a little bit there as they try and find something else after taking away the Aegis, but Emo getting caught in the full combo and no chance of getting out of there with his BKB on cooldown.
I think there's something that Team Spirit does really well is identifying like how strong the results of a fight has left each team. Both Dragon Knight and Lina popped their BKB, but they understood that if they get the instant jump, it doesn't matter because Lina will not be able to survive. As a result, they take down the top net worth hero in the game. And Yotaro, again, like he had such a bad start, and he's completely come back into this game. It's just so impressive to see from such a young player. I mean, he's also doing the all-hero challenge, so that's something.
He is. He's bringing something new every time, and absolutely the pressure it was put on.
Yeah, and he's found a DD rune, and this is a point in the game where Drow Ranger does overwhelming amounts of damage. He's going to have that DD, he's going to have that Daedalus, and the Silver Edge. Anyone he even looks at is going to die in these team fights. Right now, IG, they need to find the Drow Ranger before the fight starts.
Fly, the pressure is on for him. He's got to nail these Chronospheres.
They do have the Agnes finally finished on Kaka, so maybe they can get bait here.
The smoke is going to catch them off guard, jumping straight away. Flashlight goes in over, gets the Chronosphere locked down onto the Drow, but does he have the damage? The bash is coming in, Yotaro trying to break away, but they get him. The jumps there from JD, hits him down the enchant totem, down on the low ground. They have found Fly. Doom coming in, has collapsed, and Mirror chased him out. See Emo back in action here. He's going to be quick to TP over to join the fight. JT trying to jump away, but Collapse will focus in, trying to take his belly out of it. Collapse, he's in with the Shiva's guard, turns over with the blade, slammed down on the Kaka. Kaka's got the time lapse, good to go though. And Collapse, his BKB shortly coming to an end. Ollie locks him down with the Hex. IG now push back Spirit.
Yeah, the clutch time-lapse coming out from Kaka there onto JT's Earthshaker. They sort of bait out the front line of the fight. As a result, Yotaro, he has to show in the fight. I mean, he almost killed Fly 100-0 there, but he managed to get the perfect time walk into Chronosphere, and they win that fight.
Yeah, this time round, I mean, as you were mentioning before, if they can chrono that Drow, the damage output heavily limited, of course. We see, look how close he gets. These hits, they nearly two-shot him here. The damage coming in from this DD Drow, but a great jump forward from Fly. Make sure that this fight doesn't fall to pieces as hard as the previous ones have done for IG. As IG, they're able to come out with a favorable trade.
And I will say, Team Spirit at the end there, they did a good job focusing down heroes and controlling Kaka at the same time, so he could not save anyone else at the time. Like here, look, they're going on JT, but they stun up the Weaver just so he cannot get that time lapse off. Good execution by them, but honestly, just a good reaction from IG.
Oh, they were absolutely prepared this time round.
That was a 4v5 too. Like Emo, he was still dead on the Lina.
Yeah, he just came in at the end.
It sort of shows the duality of Drow Ranger. Either she just destroys a fight, or she gets jumped and she can't output any damage.
Yeah, if they can repeat this, and I was expecting to see this, of course. Next up, for Yotaro, he's getting that Blink Dagger. You see it already, they have to be able to dodge these Chronospheres. If he's quick on the fingers, he'll have a good shot of blinking over the Chrono and still getting the fight strong here.
And I think that the plan is still the same for Team Spirit. They want their two bulky strength heroes to be able to blink in, give some vision with the Shivas, slow everyone down with the overwhelming blink, and just sort of form a wall in the fight for their three backline damage dealers. We can see that Mira, he's actually going for the Aghanim Scepter. I have not seen this item in a while that far, but something that could happen this game is that he'll actually eat the Drow Ranger. Oh, they're starting a fight.
Oh, looking for the fish here, but Mira, solid with the cookie, gets Toronto Tokyo up to the high ground.
I want to see him eat the Drow Ranger out of the Chrono and spit it off to safety. Because I think there's not many saves on this team right now, but that is something that could happen.
Yeah, that's true. How much of a reach-in do you sort of have when you have the Ags? Can you...
It is very low. I believe it's like 300 range.
Okay, so he's got a sort of... So if he's right in the middle, he's not getting... Yeah,
you can't get him from the middle, but maybe he'll pick up the Aether Lens with those Arcane Boots, and we'll see them playing for that. It's honestly not a bad win condition, because you don't think about, oh, I need to Chrono someone right in the middle. You think about, oh, how can I get the maximum number of heroes, and how can I get them on the edge?
No, that's a great call. Oh, Fly, indeed, pinging out, knowing his target. It's the one he wants to grab every single time. Penta Edge, so that could be a lovely one here for the Void, and indeed, over it goes to Fly. Very nice when he's gone for this BKB link, instead he gets a neutral that's really going to buff up his damage output.
And Team Spirit, they picked up the gem onto Toronto Tokyo. Usually when a team picks up gem in a situation like these, they know that the next team fight is a really important one. They're willing to make that investment into the vision. They see some heroes.
Toronto Tokyo's ready to jump in. Kaka gets caught out completely, but the blast kind of pushes him out. Stanixo's there, but he's out of the kinetic field. Kaka able to get away as the combo not quite working out there as Team Spirit planned.
And there's a little bit of fog in the Roshan pit that's hard to play around, but IG, they understand that Team Spirit is using spells, so they want to go.
JT leading for the low ground. They're going to try and blow everything in. The DK Mirror jumps over the blaster, push it back. Yatoro going for the gas. There's the jump from JT in with the Echo Slam onto Toronto, Tokyo, rule 4. The Chrono doesn't quite catch Yatoro though. So Yatoro's able to get to the side. Leader will be safe for now by the time that's Kaka. Only turning with the lockdown onto the Doom. They've got the bashes. They've got the damage here to take out Collapse. 2 dead on Spirit. Buyback from Collapse. IG, what do they want to find out of this as Emo is down for 90, Kaka as well to fall. Fly already indicating he has no further interest in staying a part of this fight as he backs away. Spirit, just the buyback on Collapse committed here. We are closing in on the next Roche. See what Spirit tried to do was there's 3 down on IG. Well, not 3 down anymore, 2 further buybacks coming out. IG bringing Kaka and Ollie back into the fray.
Yeah, they don't know that Roshan isn't quite up yet, and honestly, again, a little bit of unfortunate Chronosphere coming up from Firefly, catching 2 of his allies. But both teams, they just want to hold this Roshan area. Again, Aegis, the most definitive factor in these team fights. If you have something that lets you come back to life, just tank up all those important spells, you will win the fight.
Look at Team Spirit. They don't see anything, but you know they'll go for a jump and they can get it, but already the jump been made for JT here on low ground. They get the burst on and Collapse. He's aimed for Poshka. Static Storm down. He's caught by Fly at the line, but it doesn't matter. Fly turns, beats him down for Poshka. He'll buy back Fly. Quick time walk back to safety. 20 seconds in Toronto, Tokyo will be back in. Still 30 without Emo. They're keeping their eyes on Roche. It's up, and it is ready. Yatoro. Going to start going for this. I mean, Chronosphere still down for 50 seconds. So Spirit, they're getting a good opportunity to try and finish this. We'll see if IG can go for any sort of steal. Fly can't commit with the BKB. He's going to jump in, jump out. BKB from Yatoro as he looks to finish this. Team Spirit, can they get it in time? They can jump forward. JT's able to steal the refresher shot. But Yatoro, he gets the Aegis. Fly standing strong against the Drow. JT goes down to the side. Yatoro, he's able to get out with the Silver Edge. No further detection catching him. As Yatoro gets out, Toronto, Tokyo, he's still trying to charge up into the high ground and chase down IG whilst IG attempt their escape.
And we do see Mirror goes down. I was wrong about the Goblet, by the way. It is actually melee range. It's 300 with the Aether Lens, but he does have that queued up. So they're on the same plan. If my Drow Ranger gets Chronosphere, I'm going to gobble him up and spit her out far away from the fight.
Lovely. That's a
they did
line.
pick up the Refresher Shard onto Fly during that fight, so that is a big deal. I mean, his first Chronos haven't looked the best this game, but they might not know about it. He might get the perfect second one.
Well, that's true.
Honestly, it's a really hard Chronosphere game because all 3 of the cores on IG, they sort of want to wait for each other to go in. There's no one that really wants to be that sacrifice, you know, as Toronto Tokyo is going for his team, just blinking in there, getting vision for its entire team.
I mean, I don't think we've really seen sort of another team as fearless as Spirit's initiations on this main stage. Just blinking in countless times. 1 at a time, sometimes as we saw earlier, 1 versus 4. There is no fear whatsoever, especially from that man, Toronto Tokyo. Nearly level 25. And very, very tanky with the BKB plate mail, overwhelming blink, and well on the way, in fact, to getting that AC done. Further tools that will help keep the team alive in a good chrono from Fly.
In this game, it's all about those initiations. We can see Fly, he's going for that Shadow Blade just so he can sneak into the fight, get the right Chronosphere onto Yatoro.
Yeah. All about getting that Drow.
Who is already going, he almost has his own Swift Blink. He's completely almost 6-slotted on the Drow Ranger here. Just with that Aegis in his inventory.
Yeah, remarkable carry performance from the lad.
And the Refresher is actually done on Collapse. This is a huge game changer.
So Collapse jumping in. Who's your 2 top targets here?
I think it has to be Lina and Void, but honestly, any 2 of the cores will be good. They do have Lincolns on both Lina and Void. The thing about Refresh on Doom is it's not just a second Doom, it's an extra vision that you get from the Blink Shivas. You'll see everyone on your first jump in. So you can Doom sort of like a subpar target on the first one, and then you know you'll get the perfect one when you refresh into instant Blink on the second hero.
I mean, and as we say, you know, Spirit, they are just going to be throwing heroes at IG. They have to be so prepared, IG, for Collapse. Toronto, Tokyo just going in at the same time upon them. They have to be ready with those counter plays. I mean, IG, they do have very solid ways to punish those sort of jumps. If they start getting in the face of IG, you know, the JT and Fly, they'll look for those chronos and those slams.
And both teams smoking up here. Ooh, did someone just pop cheese?
I think so. Yeah. Was that cheese or was it a gobble up?
I think it was a cheese. So someone must have misclicked it.
All right. Well, rip cheese.
Team Spirit, they're taking a long path around with the smoke around. They have the vision on the high ground.
Oh! Jump forward, Toronto Tokyo is looking for his target, but he gets caught up in the fly! He's into the backlines, he's got the chrono down onto Yatoro. He needs more damage. Is he going to be able to take Yatoro down? He is. That's the Aegis gone. A second chrono locks the two of them down. Emo's able to wrap him from the side. On to Collapse he goes. Collapse will drop the two dooms, but Collapse will fall. Static Storm controlling Fly though as Yatoro gets out of the second round of the Chronosphere. Over towards the lead they go. JT drops the Echo Slam, but they're all falling on IG. It's an ult to kill for Yatoro. It's down to Gengo's a rampage for the Drow Ranger. Yatoro, what a recovery he's had this game. Such a tough beginning, but his carry performance, it's coming in hard. IG, they'll come in with 3 buybacks to pick up some kills here on the retreat of Spirit. But Spirit, overall, they'll get the main man out. Yatoro, he's back to safety.
And you know, before this TI, I think there had only been 4 rampages. How much damage did he do?
10,000 damage there,
10,000 damage. And he was in 2 Chronospheres that fight. Before this main event, there had only been 4 rampages on the TI main stage. It's now 6 because Yatoro has 2 of them. He's really showing his class in this tournament. And I mean, I also want to give a shout out to Collapse because they got a Chronosphere onto 3 heroes twice coming in from Fly. Really good Chronos this fight. But Collapse literally 1v4 the rest of the team. No other damage could come in here.
Yeah, we see it here.
Oh, sorry, it's Toronto Tokyo. My bad. Toronto Tokyo jumped in. He just made so much space in the back line. Collapse was in the Chronosphere.
He did. Collapse did get his job done though, popping the Lincolns and getting the Doom through. But again, we see Fly. As soon as the BKB comes to an end, he's got nothing to save himself. And just this damage from the Drow, just unbearable here for IG. As Yatoro just picks them all apart perfectly, and there you can see it, hyping themselves up. Team Spirit, they know that they've got quite the lead now, up 14k.
And they've managed to sort of survive those buybacks of IG. I mean, IG, they committed a lot to try to win that fight, but they weren't able to find Yatoro in the end, and they weren't even able to push for map control.
And as you say, that's definitely going to be a bit of a concern, that even when they have the 2 chronos, they still can't quite win the fight. And it was, I mean, it was not a bad chrono at all from Fly. He gets the targets. It just doesn't matter. Everything else around him starts to fall to pieces.
Now it's just Toronto Tokyo on the back line with that strength blink. He makes too much space. And I just noticed, but Collapse, he had actually picked up that Psychic Headband. It pretty much invalidates the Lincoln's purchases from Emo and Fly because you can just pop in that instant cast spell before you cast Doom on them.
I mean, this is such a scary point of the game now for IG. Playing into the double Doom back online with a refresher cooldown ending, whilst they do not have the buybacks on 3 of their heroes. And those 3 being the 3 important ones, the 3 cores here for IG, 5 minutes. That's going to be a very, very hard 5 minutes here if they get caught in a team fight.
And IG, their win condition of the fights, it keeps getting more complicated. At this point in the game, Yatoro is 31k net worth. Oh. Sorry, the illusion scared me. He's 31k net worth on Yatoro, so Fly, he can no longer solo kill him into the Chronosphere. Their win condition of the fight is to have a Chronosphere where Emo can right-click the enemy heroes. And it's not easy because, as we've seen in team fights, Toronto Tokyo, he's just going in. Collapse, he's also willing to just throw his body away so that Yatoro can have the perfect fight.
I mean, yeah, it's just terrifying trying to approach a fight against this squad. Team Spirit, just relentless with the way they throw themselves at you. IG, we'll see what they look here for the setup. They're starting to come out onto Spirit's half of the map. They themselves are ready, everything to go with, but it's just such a hard team fight. We saw last time around getting 3 in the chrono. It has to almost be more than that. Fly's got to try and hold on, lock them all down. They have to guarantee at least 1, ideally 2, during that Chronosphere, with Emo being in position to do the damage. If people aren't dying in the chrono, Spirit are going to win the drawn-out fight every single time, with just how much damage Yatoro can do when he's left untouched.
And Yatoro, he's actually picked up the perfect neutral item for himself. He got the Ninja Gear, which allows him to smoke himself. This means that IG, they should never have the vision on him at the start of the fight. He will never run out of smokes. It's looking really hard for IG to find the right fight here, but if they camp their wards, if they take that right fight, they can always kill a Drow Ranger. I mean, at the end of the day, Drow Ranger, she's sort of like Sniper, right? Auto position for a moment and you're dead.
Oh, man. He's going to jump in. They see him. Quick time that takes him back to safety. Kaka gets him out.
Regeneration.
Roche timer coming up again. An important moment once more for both of these teams. Spirit, they're going to smoke up IG. They might not expect Spirit to come in from this angle. If they wrap around and come down into the jungle of IG.
And only Ollie has buyback for Team IG here. They have good high ground.
They're in. They get the jump in onto the void. The dude gets shot down. Then foul fly. Time lapse takes him out of the side. Though Kako will save him. Jump on from Collapse. He's going to continue to commit. The kisses are coming out. Doom dropped over towards the leader. They've lost. Fly. They'll lose Kako. And they'll get by the looks of it. They're going to lose more here. IG. JT's trying to run Ollie as well, but Mira shoots him straight in the face. Triple kill once again for Yatoro. As 3 dead on IG, none with buybacks at the ready. Spirit, they've got a whole minute and more to do whatever they want here, whether it be to the base or setting up for the Roshan. As just a brilliant wraparound from Spirit, catching IG completely off guard. Fly just getting jumped there, trying to hit the neutrals.
And no, Team Spirit, they're looking to end the game here. They understand that there's no buyback coming from Firefly.
They know indeed, they know it's on the timers. A Spirit, they're looking to close it up. JT's going to go in for one last try, but the jumps in for Collapse straight over onto Emo. Toronto took out as well. GG is called. Spirit knock IG out of the competition. Team Spirit, they'll get to keep on this incredible run that they're having. There's another series where they just turn up and it is immaculate play. Fantastic recovery. As Yatoro giving us an insane carry performance, bringing out the Drow. I mean, this series as a whole, PA one game, Drow the next. I mean, how on earth can you know what to expect when you're going against Spirit right now?
And it's Yatoro, he's playing phenomenally, but it's not just how all the players on Team Spirit, they seem to be on another level. Just all their game plans for the fights crafted perfectly. We saw Mira, he's even going for some Aethelon's eggs just to save his Drow Ranger. Collapse, Toronto, Tokyo, they're jumping in to create space at the perfect moments, and Team Spirit, they're really looking like a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they're just thinking about everything. They're thinking about everything. IG, they had a bit of a better shot this game, but it was so difficult. Team Spirit just a step ahead in pretty much all means here. As ladies and gentlemen, Spirit, they just continue to impress at such a high level. Spirit moving on 2-0 against Invictus Gaming.
2-0, what a victory for Team Spirit. They make it to the top 3. They make it to the final day, and they leave IG in the dust behind them. Here to break the game down, I want to start off by congratulating Yatoro on the 2nd rampage of main event. This was the 4th rampage overall for Team Spirit, but 2 rampages. Main event is the most any player has ever had, Trent, in any TI main event.
Yeah, you have to give some credit, of course. I mean, it's a rampage. It's really nice. You get all this awesome pump up, but as Howie pointed out there, the team. I mean, just such a fantastic job of enabling him. It's just unreal how free he looks in these team fights. You're looking at his itemization. Like at the end there, he was going for a Hurricane Pike. He's like, I want a little bit more of like this chase. I want to make these plays. It's just so confident feeling when they're playing. How can you just like not watch these guys and just love Dota so much?
And going back to your rampages, it's Toronto Tokyo also has 2 at this TI as well. So it's now both the core players, the 1 and the 2, who have also, I don't know, it's just amazing how they can prop up the correct core player in that game. And it's not just always the one person they're relying on. The sacrificial ability for these cores in Team Spirit, and then of course the reliability of their support duo, Mira and Paposhka. Like Paposhka, again, for me, somewhat an MVP of this game, just because when you think about that Roshan still, where he's able to get that ult off, get the Void in the corner. Sure, Roshan does help out a little bit, killing off the Void, giving Spirit that Aegis and that kind of momentum into the game. But again, Spirit are such a scary team. They just never back down from any real fight.
And they really showed their versatility here. I mean, we've talked about Yatoro, different hero every single game, but we see Toronto Tokyo on a DK. We see him pull out the Doom for Collapse, and it felt like this was kind of a new look for some of their players on different heroes, and it worked out flawlessly.
Yeah, it was a different style coming out from Team Spirit, and they still were able to crush with it. it didn't look as good the whole way through compared to game one. They definitely were pushed a little bit more by IG because I think because Flyfly's faces Void. Definitely a good pick there, Trent.
Good and bad. You
Good
know,
and bad.
had some chronos that weren't fantastic, but obviously, you're kind of giving the game to your carry when you get Faceless Void. It's one of the best, like, I'm going to help control the team fights, not just like go around the map and get a ton of farm and lead us to victory that way. And overall, I would say he played extremely well. I will say that, but I think coming to this game, they were a little bit broken. When I saw that Lion not on Kaka, it was over. All right, I thought IG were going to win this series, but once that happened, it was done.
And it's crazy to think that's 2 games in a row they first picked Lion, like, lower bracket, must-win game, and they're first picking this hero that Spirit don't even care about. They have zero interest in picking Lion. They prioritize first pick, and it just feels like the Lion pick was ultimately their undoing, even though it's a big reason why they got so far in the tournament.
Yeah, and we heard it in the interview, right? Like the coach after game 2 Super, he was like, yeah, well, you need a bit more late game, so they go for like a Void pick, but it feels like they didn't really fill in the gap of what's the mid-game scenario, right? Like if you hit that big chrono, it's going to be good, but if you don't have that Aegis, if you don't have that kind of momentum on your side, it is so hard to connect every single spell, especially when you have Toronto-Tokyo jumping in, baiting out 4 heroes whilst Drow loses Aegis, but then gets a rampage after. Like, I feel like, unfortunately for IG, they didn't have that simplicity of teamfight that, of course, Spirit was able to perfectly execute.
Yeah, we did have IG setting the tempo a little bit more this game. I think Spirit was very happy with that because they do like fighting. We, of course, saw in game 1 that they were forced to not fight as much, but it fit their playstyle, and it goes back and forth. And I think the Roche fights were the most instrumental for their victory in this game, Gods. They were able to time everything perfectly.
Yeah, when you're playing a Drow and a hero like Faceless Void, you know that you're the #1 chrono target, so the best way to play against that is having that Aegis. That last fight, having the Aegis, above that Roshan pit, that's the difference maker. So I think they did a really good job of understanding these Roche fights are crucial for us, and once they had an Aegis, it just made their game so easy.
Yeah, at the moment, of course, we have a winner in Team Spirit. IG, of course, will be left at the top 4 here at the International. That will be their score for this one, and we have Avo standing by with Emo to talk about that.
Thank you, Shiva. I'm here with Emo to answer a few questions. Top 4 at TI, really impressive, and also staying together 2 years. So, what makes IG so magical?
TI 前4，然后你们也这个阵容也一起打了2年，是什么让 IG 变得那么特殊、那么特别呢？
也不算很特别吧，就是我们比较能，就是交流上那种团战的那种细节吧，其实都是我们，然后我们平常也比较，反正就一起其实是挺开心的事情。
I don't think we're that special. However, our team fight communication is. I just think that we have a good time together.
So it's fair to say that you guys have been friends throughout these 2 years?
可以说这2年以来你们都成为了朋友，可以说吗？
可以。
You can say that.
Is there anything you'd like to say to the people who supported IG these 2 years?
就你有什么想对你一直支持你们的粉丝们说？
其实这2场打的是有点不尽粉丝的心意的，我也没有把我自己身上的特点发挥出来，感觉有点遗憾吧。
I think that we didn't play to our fans' expectations, and these 2 games, I didn't play my best, my full potential. It's a little bit regretful.
We say goodbye to Emo now, and also to IG at TI10, but this team has given us some great performances at this tournament that will always go into your remembering. Back to you, Shiva.
Thank you very much, Avo. And indeed, I mean, he opened it up with a question like top 4. That is insane that you're part of the 20 best players in the world. That is a crazy achievement. It will take a little time for players to fully understand that that is still a really good achievement because, of course, disappointment comes first. And on the other side, there's happiness that comes with Team Spirit, who made it top 3. And we're going to talk to one of the winners right now with Frankie.
Thank you so much, Shiva. We've got Mira here. I think my adrenaline is going faster than this guy. He's absolutely cold as ice, even though, Mira, you've just made the top 3 of TI. Looking back at that difficult first day of the group stage, can you believe the team has come this far?
Not yet, but I feel really good. I feel blessed. but not about winning, not about placing top 3. I feel the best emotions in my life because I win with these guys in my team. It's the best part of winning, not about money or a place, just to play with them.
Well, tell me about the team, because this is one of the phenomenal things about Team Spirit. We watch you in those team fights. Everything is going on, and yet the communication and the mechanics seem absolutely flawless. Why do you think that is?
I don't know, we are 5 friends who play our best Dota. We enjoy like every game. It's a pleasure to play with each other and make things work together. It's like the best part about playing together with them, because we can do stuff together and we have a good synergy between us.
Can you remember the first time you played as a FISM? Did you have the synergy back then?
Sorry?
When did you first play as this 5? Did you feel the synergy back then? Did you know it would take you all this way?
Sure not. It was pretty hard because I was a lower tier player. I didn't play this level of Dota, and they gave me a chance. And like in 2 months, I understood how to play, and then we started to play like this.
How long ago was that?
This winter, like in February, I first came to this team.
Absolutely incredible. I do want to ask about your teammate, Yatoro. He's broken a record. He's got not 1, but 2 rampages at TI10. Tell me the reaction in the team when that moment happened tonight.
We were screaming like madmen, and Miposhka was like, "Can you calm down? We still didn't win the buyback. Get out, get out!" And we're like, "Oh fuck! Wait. Oh, sorry." And we should to get out, and like it was pretty loud in our cap.
And another thing I've noticed with you guys is you always have that joy. Now, the word that's kind of been used on the desk is that you guys are a bunch of pub stars having a good time. Is that something you would agree with?
Sorry?
That you basically, you know what? I think you've already actually answered my question. That you guys, you've met up, you have this synergy, you're having a good time. Do you think you can still find that joy and have that good time when you're up against Team Secret tomorrow?
Sure. We're gonna play a merry game, like we play a pub game together. We just play for fun, you know. We just pick good heroes and try to make them work.
Well, it's so much fun watching you achieve and succeed here at TI10.
Thanks.
Good luck. Thank you so much for talking to me, Mira.
Thank you.
Let's head to the desk to wrap up this series.